Limu responds that there is nowhere to escape and activates his explosion ability. At that moment, Limu realizes that this ability was improved by his talent. In addition, the increase in the radius of the owner inflicted on enemies increases 100% of the enemy's life, and Mayu also recognizes that the knight's life is one of the best among the professions. So if the damage is 100% of their life, no one will survive unless all members of the guild are eliminated. One by one, as he eliminates them, he simply wipes dirt on his face and enters the other players after. See the elimination of the members of the Gia dynasty. They comment that there was nothing left, not even corpses, and that it was a complete annihilation. They result the dynasty guide won't let it go cheap, knowing how they are they will definitely catch those involved and eliminate them one by one. So he suggests that it is better to leave the vicinity of the DJON now before the guild leader votes for DJON, and it's better to take advantage of everyone being dead to escape half an hour later. The leader of the GU dynasty leaves the Joe, then he comments that he still hasn't gotten the core of the Goblin King Sir Rilo Chama, and scared, she comments that there is no one close to Dangel to protect him. The guild leader then asks herself to where was Xiao Zi and the rest of the guild members and all the people that were around Dan. He asks if they simply disappeared. He orders the girl to send a message, and if he is around they will definitely respond to Guido. If he wonders what he is seeing and wonders if he left it there after not receiving it message from them, the GU leader starts to think that something is wrong, because with Josie's skills, he should be the stronger in that area. Then the leader of the GUID begins to wonder if they were eliminated and questions who or what would have. Once this is done, he comments that if there was a battle here, because there is no visible trace, El Gu mentioned that it could be. It was dangerous to stay there, and decided to leave half an hour later. Inside, the Dangel Limu is eliminating the final boys. By defeating the boys, he receives 40,000 experience, a bronze level weapon, and a book. Goblin King's magician beyond the core of the low-level Limu monster then comments that it appears that this time the Goblin King's core did not drop again, Dion mentioning that he will wait to reach Jie Jing's academy and find an alchemist before making the Goblin King's ring. When analyzing the status of the book, Limu realizes that he is a bronze level book that increases your spirit by another 10 and your physique by another 10. It also increases your power of magic attack by 3 more just by using it. You then realize that this magic book is quite useful, being good for his ability calls Soul and Corpse Explosion. However, for the skeleton warrior, Inu does not give no skills for him slime. So you finally reach level 13 and realize that the experience points are already getting difficult to join. He realizes that he won't reach level 14 in the next jaw, and Miyu comments that if he wants to reaching level 15, will have to do the Dangel 3 more times considering the reset time. Then he comments that he will be able to do the Dangel 5 more times, and maybe he will be able to reach level 15 or 16 a little lower than he wanted. However, it will probably be enough, and Mu then decides to leave the Dangel outside. He realizes that everyone left, but this was to be expected as this was the best option for them. Limu comments that the dance is on top up again and decides to come back the next day. The next day, Yeshu finally reaches level 10. She comments that she can finally challenge Shahimina's angel. As she approaches, she sees Limu and is impressed to see him. She also comments that Limu is the only one in this place that can summon these monsters, and that it seems that he will enter the Dangel alone. Yeshu then says that he doesn't believe that Mu can enter the Dangel alone. Then she comments that she is an elemental mage, and that it won't be difficult to find a team, and Su comments that he will not lose to Limu again. 45 minutes later, inside Dangel, Limu eat that after leveling up and using meditation to recover your spirit. Your skeleton army is now 72. having a total of 72 out of 100 summons. When eliminating the Goblin King again, Limu get a reward, a Goblin King's Bow, and the monster's core after eliminating the boss 2 more times. Receives a sky from the Goblin King, and Muon then comments that he now has 76 skeletons, and that all of his attributes have increased to 2,300. He mentions that it's a shame that he can't increase the skeleton's abilities anymore. Approaches Inchama. Upon seeing her, Limu realizes that she had just left Dang Shashu, so he asks what the Limu level, and he responds that he is already at level 14. Shashu gets scared and asks how Limu had leveled up so quickly. Exco then comments that his team is exhausted after doing it. It was Joe twice, and they barely reached level 11. Chocho so think that even if Limu is doing the Joe alone, was it possible for him to level up so quickly? She remembers that in the initial Jaw Limu, he was at level 7, and she was at level CCO. Then Shashu doesn't understand how she is only at level 11, while Limu has already reached level 14. She realizes that the difference in level between the two is getting bigger and bigger. She already found it irritated, and said that she wouldn't lose to Liu again, and decides to look for another team to go to Dango again. Mo Alvio going. Although in commenting that she will look for another team, then comments that she had just left Angel and is already looking for another team again. So Limu wonders if Shashu doesn't have recharge limits and can do as many sometimes she wants. Time later, Shashu finishes the Dangel and is announcing again that she is an elemental magician. Level 11 is looking for a team. Comments that doing the DJ just once is not enough and that it needs to be done more. And Yuan comments that Shachu is too competitive and that he doesn't find any opportunity to talk this to her again. An hour later, Ifachu is quite exhausted and comments again for Limu, who won't lose to him. Ifachu sees a group of players announcing that they need a wizard to put together a team, so she goes again to Dan Angel. Half an hour later, if he finds it, he comments that it's very exhausted but finally reached level 12. She will tell Liu that she will reach him. Liu asks Shachu if she isn't tired. She says of course, but no, will give up until she surpasses the Limu Liu level. Then he asks why she is so determined, and Shachu explains that she is tired of staying in Limu's shadow for so many years. She says she will definitely overcome Limu this time and stay in first place. Limu then comments that all this Su competition is why he thinks he knew that all this competition is because of that he would have let her come first. Yeshu then replies that it's not just because of this, and that she also wants to enter the academy Di Jiajing. She keeps saying that she also wants to go to the Jiajing Academy, and that he must understand why she is trying so hard. Libu, so he thinks that to do the Jiajing Academy test, it is necessary to have at least level 15, and preferably level 16 to have more chances. He reflects that at the rate Su is going, it will be very difficult for her to reach level 15 Mu, so he tells Shua that she needs to do the dance at nightmare level to level up faster. Shashu then look at Limu and asks if he's joking because an elite team is very difficult to get. He explains that they only act level 16 and 17 professionals, and that she is only at level 12, and that no one wants to help her for that reason. She can only do it at the normal level, I think, and comment that if she tries hard and does as much Danjo as she can do until the day of the exam, she will probably reach the level 14 or even level 15 limb. So ask how Shashu does it. Ignored Dangel's recharge time, then asks if Limu doesn't know. Then Shashu comments that there is finally something that Limu doesn't know and proposes that if he asks nicely. She tells Limu stays silent. Watching Zaso then says that Limu is boring and doesn't even want to join in the fun. She comments that says that a magician's thoughts are the most lucid, but Limu is an idiot. Then Shashu gives a talisman to Limu and says that this is a recharge item that restarts DJON every time to analyze. Lemma realizes that they are talismans of beginner recharge, and that this item only restarts dance below level 20 MO. So you say you didn't know there was one item like that, and Shashu asks if he now understands how she reset Angel MO. So she asks if this item is expensive, and Shashu says yes, and her father looked quite sad when he gave it to her. This item, then Limo realizes that she won't be able to get a talisman for him. Shashu starts saying that she has to use it. The 7 chances in 2 days plus her own refills, and that she needs to do the Dangel at least 9 more times to reach level 15. She comments that she is already so exhausted and can barely bear to go again. Limu Yuan suggests making a team with Chashu so that they can reach level 15 without do nothing. Yeshua looks at Lemon and thinks it's true that she had forgotten that Lemon can make Joe alone, and that there would be more experience if 2 people did the Jaja instead of 3. Furthermore, Limu can do all the work, so Shashu thinks that if she accepts Limu's proposal, she will never pass her Shashu Farah level 2. Limu that everything is fine, and that she will accept the proposal. She will form a team and share the talisman of recharge already chose, so think that anyway she won't reach the Limu level, and that next time you will pass your level and come in first place. Liu then tell Shashu and rest, and they will start Dajo and do a clock. Sash says everything is fine, and that he will get some sleep soon. Then Limu starts meditating to recover the spirit, and Shashu falls asleep. 2 hours later, Limu and Shashu are entering the Joe, and I think it comments that 2 hours goes by quickly, and Mo then activates the talisman and puts the Joe in nightmare difficulty, which leaves her feeling scared. Desperate, she asks Limu to wait because she had put her in nightmare difficulty, but it's too late and they both enter the Danjo. Within the Danjo, Su comments that the monster's attributes are so strong that it is clearly in nightmare difficulty. Then she asks if Limu had chosen the wrong difficulty, and Mayu simply asks to Shashu stay close to him, and Shashu asks if Limu is going crazy, and that they will die if he continues. Scared, she thinks that if she runs away now, Limu will laugh at her. Limu looks back and asks Chue to walk quickly, asking if she's scared. Irritated, Zeso says she is not, so Limu asks why she isn't attacking, I guess, then realizes that the monsters aren't even causing a damage to the Limu skeletons. Then the 2 start running, moving forward quickly. Nothing angels soon after the 2 arrived in the boy's room. When she saw the Wolf King, she thought she was scared. She comments that the boy is at nightmare level, is twice the size than normal. When he sees Limu eliminate the boys with just 1 magic, Chashu is in disbelief, and your experience goes up by 30% at once with just 1 boys. Asks what the hell is this, and questions how to eliminate the boys so easily. Then she mentions that her team of 3 fought for 20 minutes to kill the king Lobo, and now he was eliminated in less than a minute, and on the nightmare difficulty. Soon afterwards, Lemino sends Chochuif. Hurry up. She looks at Limai scared and asks if he was doing the dance all this time on heavy difficulty. From there, she realizes that if she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would never have believed it. With a professional below level 20 would be able to complete Joe Nightmare alone. Yeshu then asks if Limu had been doing Joe since level 10. Limu replied yes, and it was easy. A few minutes later, Shashu comments that it hasn't even been 10 minutes since they entered the Dangel, and they are already facing the boys' final. She mentions that her previous teams needed at least an hour to get to the boys. Soon after, the final boys eliminated with just 1 attack. Limu reaches level 15, and Shashu then comments that Limu has already reached level 15. Sad, she mentions that the difference between them is getting bigger and bigger. The items dropped. Exco gets sad that a sword dropped, and she comments that she wishes it was a crow. Limu so asks if she wants a crow. XCH answers yes. explaining that the Goblin King's CRO is the strongest weapon for mages. Before level 20, she comments that even though it is for sale, she didn't want to ask her father for money right away. Limu throws the CRO to Shashu, and she asks why Limu doesn't use the Limu. Comments that she doesn't like it, and then plays a magical yell from her goblin, and tells Shashu to use it to Shashu. So you think that Limu didn't use a book at any point? Maybe this item is significant for him. Limu then thinks that it is as expected. If he gathers all the monsters, his explosion of corpses will be faster to pass the Joe. Thanks to the Shashu talisman, he can do the Dangel 5 more times, and will be able level up, reaching level 16, even though you share the experience. Then Limo approaches the boys and asks sorry for having to eliminate him once again, and that he will have to come 5 more times to. So he approaches Limu and asks him why he's talking to boys because he doesn't even understand Limu. He replies that it doesn't matter, and that he just wants to talk even if he understands or not. After El Mouse stands at the Dangel exit, Jao wonders who apologizes for Abio so seriously, and that Limu isn't just here to eliminate him. So Exo-Il says that Limu is strange, and at the same time so cute. Approaching Li Mayu, he comments that after they leave, they will start Dangel again. Shashu replies that everything is fine, and then Limu and Shashu eliminates the boys 5 more times, and Shashu finally reaches level 14, which makes her very excited. So she comments that she still has a day and a half until the day of the big exam, and she can do the gel 2 more times. She comments that if you reach level 15, you will easily pass the exam. She calls Limu and asks if he is close to moving up level again. Limu responds yes, and Shashu comments why Limu doesn't try to become the champion. So Limu asks, what do you mean? Shashu says that Limu will get a lot of points. I will become champion, and this is extremely important in Xia Jing's academy. And it is the most important thing because the champion wins the chance to enter the creation seminar in Mole. So he asks what this creation seminar Jesh. So he says that heard from his father that the creation mine is the best of all in the country, and that the Jinga Academy is full of elites, being the seminary which is filled with talent at the height of their power. She mentions that Senior K Jing is inside, and that he is the only one in the city of Shahi. Lively says that he thinks El Mu has a chance to be the second in the city, and if he succeeds, Director Lu will smile even in his dreams, he thought. So he thinks that the Limu's method of completion is something never seen before, and if he manages to enter, he can try to enter the sim. Then he says that his sister is at the Shaojing Academy, and that he has to enter, but if there is a chance to enter the seminar, he will then try Vicha GY. When he sees his level, she comments that he is already at level 11, but it's a shame that he is a knight, and that his current level is not enough for him. Tanking, she notes that a normal level team needs at least a level 13 knight, and Muthan speaks that this is not a problem and suggests that Shashu invites him to the team. I think he is quite excited. He agrees and says that everything is fine. In another location, the director of the GU Dynasty leader is asking if he is crazy and what he was thinking about restricting as she asks if the leader of the GUID thinks that the parents and association are still director effect. Comments that if the guild leader wants to die, don't take the guild with him. The director orders him to remain in the guild and not leave nowhere for now. Today anyway, the guild leader is already level 16, and it's better to wait until at the beginning of the exam. The guild leader then asks what they will do with the elimination of Zhou Ji and the others. Director members then comments that he has already set people to investigate, and that he doesn't need to worry. He mentions that for someone who managed to eliminate several people and make them disappear without letting that person's strength wear must be bigger than they can imagine. Then the director asks how dare anyone confront the Gu Dynasty Tando to Lim Shashu. She calls GY, and when looking back he sees Shuel move together, so he jokes saying that the two of them are a couple. I find him so irritated, tell him to shut up, comment that if he doesn't stay quiet, she won't rescue him anymore. Young says he was joking and asked Shashu not to stay angry, and Shu asks the gang not to look for a team anymore, and for him to join them when the cooldown expires. When they finish, she says that he will be able to reach level 12 before the exam. Jiang is very happy and comments that the two are his saviors, mentioning that the minimum requirement for the gym he would like to go to is minimum 12. Yashu then say that if he continues acting like this, he won't help him anymore. Yin quickly changes his posture and plays, speaking in a knight's way, and he will follow all her orders, and says that if she sends him to the east, he will definitely go east, and if she asks him to play dead, he will definitely do it. If you find him irritated, tell him to just shut up. Ouyang says he will obey and asks how long it takes to restart Danjo, and Shu replies that it's 10 hours away, so Gang said it's okay and suggests that they rest, adding that he will hunt some monsters before starting Daejo Muyu. He remains silent, just watching, and Goyang says everything is fine. My Goyang adds that he is rooting for him. Sooner or later, he will manage to win over Xia soon after. Jiang runs away desperate after the Shashu's attack on him. Irritated X comments that Jiang is so irritating and that deserve this Limu attack, say that Jiang likes to play 10 hours later. Inside, Digong asks Ami found this difficulty is not wrong because is in trouble. Nightmare Shashu tells him not to ask so many questions and orders him to just follow them. Maybe Shashu X at gaining gets desperate, and Su asks why he is so close to her. G responds that in nightmare difficulty he will die if he just gets scratched. Yeshu says that he is a knight, and he should be on the front line to win the final baby with just one attack. He doesn't believe it, and is surprised because the final boys were on nightmare difficulty and died so easily. Considering that no group of 10 people can eliminate Bus in this way, so simply have you found it, then comments that there is no reason to be surprised. Jiang kneels at Limu's feet and asks him to take it when he goes doing the Transano. Yeshu asks Jiang to have a little dignity and act like knight, in addition to demonstrating honor and not behaving in this way, then comments what is the point of acting as a knight? A boss is nearby asking what a knight should do. Mia asks him to release him and promises to take him along in the future, so Gang says that Limu is the best. Limu thinks that with one more Anong he will finally you will be able to reach level 16. Shashu, you will be able to reach level 15, and Gang at the level 12, and after that be at the big exam on the wall in the city of Zai. Director Lu says he is already. When it's time for the students to return, one of the directors comments that the exam will be held the next day and wonders if everything will go well. Maiden mentions that he heard that the two geniuses from the academy are trying to enter Xia Jing's academy. Director Lu confirms yes, and says that his names are Limu and Shashu, and that they are both trying to get into Xia Jing's academy. They explain that according to the previous year's standards, only students who are at least at level 15 will have a greater chance of entering the academy, and those who are already at level 16 will definitely enter. Director explains that it's difficult to reach level 15, but reaching level 16 is almost impossible, and there are only 2 people at Zai Academy managed to reach level 16. One of them is Du Kaixing, and the other is Limu's sister. Director Luan says he believes very Shashu El Muyu will be able to enter soon after a man warns that someone is approaching the city. Observing Shu Zin, a level 12 swordsman, the director said it's not bad, and which was to be expected as he was a talent at his school. Then someone else approaches, and soon they see Veining, an Arira with sharp eyes. She is at level 13, and one of the directors comments that this is the level higher than that of the sword. And the other answers that the level does not determine everything, and what is most important is The exam result, he explains that they are practically the same since no one at level 14 has appeared yet. Director Lu, so he wonders why Zash Elmuyu and Jiang haven't appeared yet, and that they should have already returned. Worried director wonders if something happened to them. Then the three approach the city and the director. Lu is very excited to see Limu, and I think Ji Young. He comments that finally they have arrived, and it is great to see them return safely. However, director Lu can't see their levels. What makes me wonder if they got good levels. Then they see that Jiang is at level 12 and Shashu is at level 15. The other directors are impressed with the level of Shashu, and the director comments that she already has 80% chance to enter Xia Jing's academy, so the other director tells director Lu that he must be very proud. Because then Limo approaches, and the directors can see his level. When they see that he is at level 16, they don't believe it because it is a higher level than Shashu. This seems crazy to the directors. Comment that they must have been doing Joe non-stop hose. They have excellent items with a sword in the shield in Jiang's hand, and Shashu's CRO, which are the best DLPS of the Goblin King, and that the drop rate is extremely low, making it almost impossible to obtain them. The directors then comment that it seems that they worked hard. The manager congratulates Jiang and asks him to get on the bus, informing him that as soon as everything arrive they will be sent back to school. Jiang thanks them for the compliment and says that this time they will show the other directors that they are the best. After everyone gets on the bus, Director Lu asks everyone to rest and mentions that another day he will take them with him to the exam site, and Muyu then thinks that now that he has reached level 16 he is confident that he can be accepted into Xia Jing's academy, and that he can finally try to get first place and aim for the creation seminar. The next day Limu realizes that his spirit has fully recovered and that now finally he can get the 6 skeletons summoned with all his attributes increased to 2,500. Slime says that today he is in perfect condition and will do his best in the exam. When Slime walks around the place, Gong-O sees him and calls him, and Su also, after seeing him, goes towards him. Su and asks Limo if he is confident. He says yes, so Su tells Limo that she wants to see him at Xia Jing Liu's academy. Just agrees. Then Diru gives them a teleportation piece and explains that they must break it or use it their spirit to be sent to the exam venue. The principal asks them to prioritize safety during the exam because their lives are more important, and then the director asks them to take the exam. After activating the stone, realizes that there must be at least 10,000 students at the location logged. Then the test tower is activated and explain the rules that during the exam no sounds are allowed and no questions are allowed, and non-compliance will result in immediate disqualification. So some students don't understand and ask what they will do if they don't understand something. Right away a warning appears informing them that they have been disqualified for violating the rules. M looks at Jiang and says he is very smart for keeping quiet. The rules start to be explained again, informing that the test tower will give different tests for different professions. Those of the battle type will receive battle testing, while support types receive. There are several situations in which they will have to use their healing magic. After completing the basic test, they will have 3 levels to choose from: normal level, nightmare level, and infernal level. The different difficulty levels gave different results, and finally different points are results for the exam, and they will be able to use them in the academies that manage to enter. One of the points are more valuable than gold coins. Also explained to them that they can use any equipment they have at hand, and items in the storage space will be sealed, and those who violate the rules will be disqualified. And now, with the rules explained, students will have to form a queue to enter the tower. Limu comments that if the Jading province already has a lot of people taking the exam, so the number of people being tested across the country should be probably 1 million will start to be teleported. Limo realizes that the test tower is exactly like him. expected similar to the Enano, that they will be sent to different places according to their professions. Vermu test examiners, one of them asks if this is the new profession that the city of Sharai reported another. He responds that based on the information they received, Limu must be a mago of the summoning type, so he says he waits. That this new profession does not disappoint them, and that they will classify you as a rare mage than they. They sent the wizard-type monster just 2 levels above Limu. Then he heard the monster in front of him realize that he is a magician type, and then he receives a mission to eliminate the orc wizard. Limu notices that the light that surrounds the monster prevents him from seeing his level, but that doesn't matter. When it is finally released, slime attacks him quickly and activates his Flame of the Soul ability, quickly eliminating the monster in just 0.1 seconds, leaving one of the examiners impressed. The Limu managed to eliminate a must with just one attack in the control room of the test tower. The examiner Ning approaches the others, and they ask him what he is doing in the control room. Ning explains that he heard of a new profession and came to investigate. The others don't know what to do. The Limu eliminated the monsters, instantly making it impossible to assess the ability of this profession. In this way, to realize that Limon necromancer, no one says that if the rare profession alliance scenario didn't work, they should perform the test in difficulty of the legendary profession. Someone comments to me that this is a bit unfair, but no one explains that it doesn't matter if Limu eliminated the mon immediately. They will give you 100 points and first place. However, if Limu passes the second test, Nig promises to give him 100 extra points, so the man agrees. The new Mancho appears. 1 level 20 sorcerer is placed to face Li Mayu. After Mancho appears, Li Mayu activates his soul flame. Again, he eliminates the Mancho with just one attack, then comments that he managed to eliminate the Mancho once again with just one attack. Another man says it was impossible since this difficulty was for the legendary profession. No one explains that it is no longer necessary to continue, and you can proceed to the next round. Then a warning is displayed again, informing you that the first round of the exam is over, and a total of 10,632 people participated in the exam, but only 5,220 passed, and now it will be announced the results. When analyzing the results, he thinks that he already suspects that he would come in first place, but eliminate the 0.1 second Manra. This is absurd. The leader of the Guido Wang dynasty, when he realizes that he is not in the top 3, he gets angry and thinks that he clearly should have been in first place, and doesn't understand how someone managed to eliminate the most 0.1 second, thinking it must be the mistake. Limo heard the time it took to eliminate the monster. He thinks it has already turned a little after the second round of for battle scenario candidates. They can choose the difficulty, but are warned that they may die in the second test round, and asks them to take into account their limitations. In case of danger, they can shout for withdrawal, and the test will be closed, maintaining the accumulated points. It is also informed that the exam lasts 30 minutes, and the difficulties will give 3 or 5 points depending on the choice. So on choose the hellish difficulty. Then he says that eliminating the monster on hellish difficulty is equivalent to 5 points on normal difficulty, so he believes that the student who came first in the previous round won't have any chance against him in this one, I think. On the other hand, he thinks that elemental mages are not good at melee combat, nor are they efficient facing stronger opponents on her own, but she needs to eliminate as many as she can, so Chashu chooses the normal difficulty. The examiners talk about Chashu explains that although the elemental mage's explosion power is great, melee combat power is FR, therefore they cons believe that she made a good choice by opting for difficulty. When examining the Zomai players, they comment that the Bezeg profession is considered one of the most powerful among rare professions, so they believe that Zom is likely to have good results. They continue to argue that still don't know the difficulty that Limo chose, so they explain that this test evaluates your constancy because the candidate will have difficulty fighting continuously for 30 minutes. Limu in turn thinks he is an exception among the players because he is more powerful, and for this reason, he chooses the infernal difficulty. The directors are in disbelief upon learning that he actually chose the infernal difficulty, and one of them congratulates the director. Luan says that 2 of the first places will certainly go to his students. Another then comments that he is Limu, managing to come first in the entire province. Duret Lu will probably die of joy. Limino, when entering danger, the first monster that he faces a level 13 wolf warrior, and when checking the monster status, he commits that he very weak. So Limu thinks it is understandable that the monster has these states because the vast majority of candidates were eliminated if the test was too difficult. Then Limo summons his skeleton warrior in level 15, who has a much higher status than the werewolf. After eliminating the mono slime, comments that it was too easy, and he realizes that when the Mancho is eliminated, it takes about 5 seconds for another one to appear, and Mayu concludes that it will be necessary to summon 2 skeletons. Then the examiners, seeing that Mayu eliminated the werewolf with ease, asks if Limu's invocations are so strong. One of them comments that Limu can summon 2, and that soon concludes that the Limu profession is the most powerful of any invocation they had ever seen, and that it is even more powerful than they had imagined. When analyzing candidate Wang, they realized that he is so desperate about the test, who doesn't even know how to distribute his energy, even though he is in the greatest difficulty. Wang is after Shashu and chose the normal difficulty. The examiners, when they saw how Lio the V eating potatoes that he had taken from his pocket, he waits for this to be recorded so that it can be marked in the story because the exam is being very easy for him. H comments that he has finally finished this part of the exam and says that must have eliminated 50 monos on the infernal difficulty, stating that first place will certainly be as soon. Then it is announced that the test round is finished and that 5,220 candidates participated in this round, which 2780 were injured or dropped out. Eager to find out if they came first, I asked you to announce the results soon, then informed that there will only be 2,440 candidates left who can withdraw or move on to the next round of testing, and then the Ilimo score list is released. Is in first place, followed by Zomiai and Shashu, when Wang remains in fourth place. This leaves you in disbelief because the point difference between it and Limu is very high. Wang says that the time of resurgence every C seconds, and that it is only possible to eliminate 12 monsters in 1 minute, as each monster is worth 5 points. With a maximum limit of 30 monsters, it is only possible to get a maximum of 1,800 points, so Limu managed 1605. So OG concludes that Limu eliminated 301 Mon. Wang wonders if Rima didn't needs time to eliminate them. The director then comments to Lu and his student, "It's completely absurd." They mentions that Suki Ale, who is extremely talented, only got 700 points in this round, and only got 650 soon. Then the third round begins, and it is informed that the candidates will face a difficult boss. Normal will give 100 points, Nightmare difficulty will give 300, and Hellish difficulty will give 500 points. Lemore choose immediately the Hellish difficulty, thinking that this time it's a boss, and the examiners want to evaluate the limit of each person's combat to enter the danger, and Mao see that the final boss is the werewolf level 15 captain. He comments that this boss is very weak and doesn't even compare to the elite Danjo monster from the Sharai Molumine. Notices that the examiners didn't send the Hellish difficulty monster, and what I leave disappointed. He mentions that the test is made up of 5 rounds, and expects at least the last 2 to be at least more challenging soon. Then the other players start to face the boss, but Limu doesn't even make an effort and eliminates the boss again. Easily the examiners do not believe that Limu has eliminated Munch in an instant and wonders how his indications can use skills. They comment that this way they are not able to evaluate the true extent of your battle power. Examiner Ning says he will wait until the 5th round of this test, and Slim himself intends to win first place in the province. He will have to pass the 5th round. Rose still thinks that the farm round will not be able to evaluate Limu's true power when analyzing the rank list. Impressed because Jiang is at rank 670, and due to the number of players his rank is very good considering that his class is knight, and the difficulty for him is much greater. Then it is announced that the 4th round will have start, and is informed that the difficulty of the 4th round will be increased, and the danger level will also be increased, drastically elevated. Then they are told that they must choose whether to continue or give up. Wang comments that the 4th round will begin, and this is your chance to move up the ranks. It is informed that the current qualifications of the candidates would make it a habit to be admitted to the 100 best universities in the empire, and since at this stage there was no withdrawal, your decisions will be respected shortly after the rules of the 4th round of the test are announced. Then explained that candidates will face 10 waves of monster attacks, with each wave having a total of 100 monsters. And after a minute passes, even if all the monsters have not been completely eliminated, a new wave of monsters will be generated. The last wave of monsters will be led by a boss, and everyone will pass the test after the elimination of all monsters. Each monster has a value of 10 points, and upon completing all levels the points will be doubled and converted into a total of 2,000 points. The examiners comment that they now want to see how Lu Moyo performs will come out, and that the best way to face the summoner is to eliminate him, so they comment that now Leo will be in trouble. Examiner Ning said he believes this round will not be enough to stop Limu, leaving the others in disbelief. With her words, Limu says that in this round the TR skeleton penalty must be enough, and she had her soul flame and begins to eliminate the monsters. The examiners see that Slime can summon 3 skeleton wars. I believe this is possible. He wonders why Limolo didn't do this from the beginning and only now decided to use their skill. Then they comment that Limu likes to keep his skills a secret. No one then says that how much stronger Limu is, happier he will be. Limu then comment that the assessment is very easy, and not even if it compares to the emotion he felt when he first entered the Zymine Angel. He thinks the exam not surprising. The examiners say that it's not even fun to watch LMO eliminate the monsters, and it's better to watch the other participants. Agreeing with Ning's opinion that Achu is using his fire flame ability, comments that a mage's strong point is the air attack, and that's why this round is very good for her, and she will certainly do well. Outside the test, the other players who withdrew comment on the difficulty of the test and wonder, since those who remained managed to eliminate so many monsters. Some players claim they did well in giving up, as this phase of the exam is very difficult. Other players comment on Limu's power, noting that the monsters barely spawn, and their skeletons immediately eliminate, gone capable of giving up on the 6th monster wave. As to the other players, who also gave up on Limu's Solar Dangan's feat on Nightmare difficulty, some players question if it is possible to complete a Dan on Nightmare difficulty alone. Then others say, what gang is just trying to deceive them with their story. With just 5 rounds left until the end of the test, the Dominators commit that Feng Xiu is starting to show his strength. Feng Xiu is a level 15 holy swordsman. Examiners comment that Feng Xiu is a member of the Feng family of the Chinese blade, is standing out, and understands that the last rounds are crucial in the assessment, that he was keeping all his power for this moment. Then right after they mention that Wang finally activated his Bezer ability. When activated, the Bezer increases your F's constitution by 500% for a period of 5 minutes. However, the speed decreased by 200%, and after use the player enters a state of fatigue for 30 minutes. After the end of the 4th round, it is reported that only 5 players remained and the leaderboard has been updated. Limo is in first place with 3,605 points. Sohm is in second place with 2,470 points. Chashu is in third place with 2,270 points. Wang in fourth place with 2,265, and Feng Shu in fourth place with 2,200. Stretching players comment that only 5 people survived the 4th round and wonder if anyone will be able to pass the 5th round. Considering how difficult the 4th was, they imagine that the 5th round should be much more challenging. Wang states that the ranking does not matter so far as the 5th round will determine the winner. Yushu and believes that being in the top 5 she should be able to enter Xiaojing Sim College. Many difficulties. When starting the 5th round, Limo realizes that the men drop out of level L15 do not have some information about their attributes and skills, and they are making the sound. He wonders if they are calling the other companions when trying to eliminate them. Li Sauce realizes that he cannot defeat them with just one attack. Realizes that their constitutions are much higher than that of previous monsters. He comments that if a blow will not be enough, 2 must be in a row. He activates his corpse explosion ability, and the examiners, they are surprised by Limu's performance and comment that the exam has barely started and he has already increased 500 points, totaling 105 points, and that Slime has already eliminated 10 monsters in the first stage alone. So Slime realizes that the lizard men use their roar to attract their companions, so he decides to wait for him to call everyone. The other Manchos come to him. However, he notices that the corpses disappear in about 10 seconds after being eliminated. That I make you change your plans because you won't be able to use your corpse explosion ability efficiently. In this way, Limo decides to gather the corpses quickly, eliminating them in groups so that he can then use his explosion skill of each dog, and she had his skill resulting in a death of all the monsters after the big explosion. The examiners are surprised and wonder what Limu did. The moment they watched, it became completely dark and LMU had a 4,500 point increase in their score. They question how Limo managed to eliminate the first few monsters so quickly, and equally surprised Nig wonders what kind of necromancer profession seems so powerful. He is concerned about the extent of Limu's power after eliminating everyone. The Hmong wonder if he will have to wait another minute for more to appear, but soon there is an explosion above him. But quickly their skeletons protect themselves from the attack, and then skeleton men appear. Level 16 sorcerer who uses skill Rain of Fire. Limu looks at them and comments that they finally disappeared. Limu after eliminating everyone. The monsters wonder if they will have to wait a minute for more to appear. However, soon afterward a explosion on him and his skeletons quickly protect him from the attack. Then large men appear. Level 16 sorcerer who uses his fire rain skill. Limu look to them and comments that they finally appeared. Limu orders his skeletons to attack, causing their men Largata wizard stay together. Soon after, Limo activates his explosion of corpses, eliminating all the monsters at once. Limu then receives 6,000 points, and the examiners claim that Limu eliminated 120 monsters in a matter of seconds. Once again, the examiners comment that it is not just the Limu invocations that are powerful, but he is also capable of using group damage abilities called Corpse Blast, and the ability Calling from the Soul is also quite strong. The examiners wonder if the Limu profession surpassed the class Legendary. Then the examiners comment that it is still not possible to be sure, and that it could be very powerful in lower levels, but this does not guarantee good performance at the higher level, so they decide to observe Limu for more time. Limu, after eliminating all the monsters, realizes that the time of death has become stronger, and he wonders if it's time for the second stage, and Miyu then comments that in the second stage there are around 40 groups of kissing men waiting for the surroundings. Their snow increased and their quantity doubled, and Miyu says that playing at the level difficulty of this stage, the other classes will probably not be able to pass it, and if there is any chance, it will take a long time to complete this phase. The examiners say that in the entire history of the Xenia entrance exam, only one person in 100 years was able to pass the third stage of this battlefield. One of them believes that Limo is able to complete it is that his abilities are completely abnormal, so he suspects that Limu has awakened a talent. The examiners comment that if Limu really managed to awaken a talent, so this news is great for humanity. So they comment that if Limoyo was in fact a genius of awakening a talent just by obtaining a profession, perhaps Limu will be able to awaken another talent when his class evolved to the second stage. So they explain that a professional with a talent is already something rare, and with the two there is no talk. After the ranking list is announced, Limo is in first place with 34,652.70. One of the three great divine towers of the Empire of Xenia, the Demon King of the Abyss, launches the attack against the tower. Then one of the professionals defends the tower using his magic, and the Demon King states that this will not be able to stop him. Then from the professionals he asks if the Demon King wants to be eliminated by attacking the tower like this. The Demon King responds that he is nothing more than a clone, and that he can be eliminated because he will return. But in regarding Toys Brats, he will go after them now. After the Demon King's clone was almost eliminated, the group of professionals with the most powerful professions in Xenia's empire then disappears. Comments: who doesn't believe that the cowards from the abyss attacked them by surprise? They mentioned that the black light was extremely fast, suggesting that the invaders were well prepared, so they claim they were tricked to get out of the tower, and that their objective was the children in the battle space. One of them comments that the cowards from the abyss infiltrated the tower, causing chaos in the inner space, and the power of the abyss changed the rules inside the tower. They also observe that the abyss monsters have an advantage because the terrain inside the tower was formed essentially based on the Bayuan abyss, known as God Bai, as one of the most powerful professionals in Xenia's empire. So he asks how long it will take to fix this, and the others, they respond that after about an hour. Returning to Liu, when he sees that the monos have disappeared, he wonders what is happening. When looking at the side, Limu the view Shashu, and Shashu Velmayu Se asks what is happening to the battle space, and why she met up with the other participants, and Shu starts to explain that she was eliminating a monster, and it disappeared for no reason. So she asks Liu if he knows what's going on, and Limi responds that he doesn't, and that the same thing happened to him right after God Bai appears to the students inside the tower. No one then wonders why God Bai appeared. Then he wonders if something is happening on the battlefield. Deus Bai informs that the demons from the world of the abyss have invaded the space of battle, and that his objective is the students who are taking the exam. So he explains that they are working to organize the rules of the space, but it will take them about an hour. So Deus Bai explains that the students will have to protect during that time, and that they do not know what kind of methods the abyss demon will use to face them. And she states that as long as everyone stays united, there is nothing the invaders can do against them. And then God goes and says that they should not be afraid of death during the battle at Chu. I heard that the demons invaded the battle space. She gets scared when she hears the other monsters. He raises his sword and says the god's phrase why they should not fear death during battle, as Luna explains that there is a level limit in the battle space and that the maximum level they can stay in there is 19. The man who was next to them says that it is true and that he had forgotten about it, so he says that there is nothing to fear because there are several people together, and that the monsters, they won't have a chance against them. They've already found it. So he asks why there are so many of them, and Mina, that the monsters are in range. Power of improved elite monsters. She then asks Limu what they will do now, and Limu replies that it will be complicated, but it is completely impossible to eliminate them by hand. So explain that an improved monster has the same level as a monster from an angel man on nightmare difficulty, and how they were mutated by the power of the abyss. This means that now they will give experience. Then the demon king appears and asks if the students are scared or terrified in front of the monsters of the abyss. He mentions that Death said they could win if remain united, and since there are 100 students, each only needs to face one monster. One then responds that it is impossible to win because he can barely lift his sword due to the intimidating nature of the Liu monsters, so decides to move towards the monsters, and Shashu asks him what he is doing, asking him to come back, and Mayu then responds that there are more than 100 level 19 elite monsters, and that he will eliminate them. Echo then says that he will help him, but Limu says it will be dangerous, so Limu goes to the monsters, and the others wonder what a necromancer is, and what kind of class it is. They also wonder if these a decision highlighting that the doors of the abyss will always be open to him. Slime, so you think you need to get within a distance of about 50 m of the monsters to execute the effect of your explosion of a corpse. Then immediately afterwards Limu, then the others ask why Limu stopped. Limu then explains that he is already the enough, and she activated her ability calling from the wing and summons all her 100 skeleton warriors, aiming if he asks how Lio can summon so many skeletons, and wonders where he managed to get so many skeletons from. Invocations, and what kind of profession this is. The friend is impressed by the speed of the warriors, Quilmayu, even commenting that they are more agile than her, even though she has a class specialized in agility. Mo activates the skeleton's fury ability and attack, but when attacking the monsters, he realizes that not only are they eliminated, Immediately afterwards, the skeletons receive an attack and their constitution drops to 1995 from 2500 points of life, or else says that monsters infected by the abyss must have a strength of around 3000 points and that to resist so many attacks his constitution must be higher than 3500 points. However, he realizes that the larger the institution, the more it will affect the corpse explosion ability when managing to eliminate the first man. Lotto Limu receives 8,000 experience points, and he comments that even if the experience is low, it is better than nothing is given to the large number of monsters. By eliminating them all, he will gain a significant amount of experience. Soon after, Limo activates his corpse explosion ability, and when his friend sees the explosion, he is left without understand what is happening, and soon after all the monsters are eliminated, they don't believe what is happening, and how Limu managed to eliminate everyone easily, so he wonders what kind of skill this is. Because she is so powerful, Ong scared doesn't understand what is happening, and wonders how Limu is so strong and why he awakened a profession like this, and that this is not fair, and that he should have awakened a profession. Then Hang says that the necromancer profession is very powerful. The demon god says that this is impossible and that now they make him furious and everyone will be eliminated. Suddenly more Monch appears, and the demon god says that now we will see how you will deal with it, and that now everyone will die. Slime looking up came the place where the clone of the demon god, and Limu quickly picks up momentum with one of his skeleton warriors and heads towards the god demon. Then he calls Limu crazy and asks what he will do. When he gets closer, Limu activated his ability Soul Flame and explosion of corpses all together. After the explosion, Mo realizes that the demon god is still alive and activates his ability again by calling from the soul. The demon god asks what this is the skill that can burn your soul, wondering what kind of profession Limu has, because this is impossible, and this type of profession should not exist in the world. Limu, returning to the ground, says that this is the price to pay for invading the battle space outside the tower. The powerful wizard does not understand what is happening. As the abyss's power of influence is falling drastically, he wonders if all the candidates in the tower is eliminated. Then he says that he cannot feel the aura of the life of many human beings and the aura of the consciousness of Demon King. It was quite weakened, so he says that he is probably injured. God is in agony, asks to. The magician says these things in advance and asks him not to scare him. The MAG then asks God, don't be so hasty next time. God says that the demon god used the power of the abyss to change the rules of battle, and that not even they are able to enter easily, so he wonders who was able to face it, that inside there are only the candidates who are at level 15 and 16 returning to the space of battle. The angry demon god orders the Monos to attack the students and eliminate them. Upon hearing this, many students, they are terrified. Slime, then, they can't believe it, because their corpse explosion has increased in level, and with the effect of the talent, a corpse's explosion radius increased to 20 m and damage increased to 150% of value of life. Mew then realizes that this ability is the type that levels up with repetitive use, usually with her limb. the new profession, so they say that they are very lucky to have someone so powerful with them that if it wasn't by Limu everyone would probably already be dead. Limu looking up. Demon King is taking out all the monsters, and he said there is nowhere to run. The Demon King so look at Limu and promises that she will remember his name when he goes to the abyss, but before the demon can say more, something slime activates his corpse explosion ability, eliminating the Demon King's clone, causing him to return to the abyss. Then the battle space returns to normal, and the other students wonder if they defeated the wizard outside the tower to tell God that the consciousness of the abyss was destroyed and that the field of battle returned to normal. Deus by asks about the students, and the wizard replies that they are safe and that none of them was hurt by God. So he doesn't believe it because ISO was completely outside his expectations. So he asks what happened in the battle space. Then God orders the wizard to transport. Immediately all students are as a precaution. MAG then confirms and says that he will do this immediately in the battle space. Yeshu asks Leo if everything is okay. He responds yes, and that things are finally resolved. God then appears to everyone, announcing that the obese man's power has disappeared and that the battle space has returned to normal, and they will be sent back to the original testing room, and the results they will be announced soon. Yeshu so look at Limu and say that they would have no chance of winning those things if it wasn't for him, because it was Limu who did most of the work, and they were very lucky after everyone was teleported. It is announced that the battle scenario examination has been completed and that participants must wait for the announcement of the evaluation score. Nitao informs that the final score of the battle scenario composed of score obtained, and by evaluating the candidate, the score alone will not give them the opportunity to join the best university, and that everyone also needs to be well evaluated, and that the last remaining 5 will have evaluations. Different EIS will be given by the High Command of the Empire of Xenia Ningu. So one wonders what must have happened in the battle space. Then he says he is eager to know what Limu Deus Bai's assessment will be when analyzing what happened in the battle space. Realizes that Limu was the one who eliminated the monsters and defeated the Demon King. So he comments that this is the class of necromancer he heard that appeared in the city of Chahi. So he says that I didn't imagine that it was Limu who took charge of the situation, and that this is incredible. Yuz then recognizes that Limu, he is not afraid of killing and has a powerful profession, so he says that Limu has all the conditions to become one of the strongest and existing. Furthermore, Deus Vi believes that Limu has awakened an extraordinary talent. One of the examiners comments that this year's assessment is complicated, so the other examiner says there is nothing wrong. Complicated because those who fled combat are totally useless, and when they are in another field of battle they will become deserters, and there is no room for them. God bar. So he says that it is obvious that he crushed someone different, and that they should think a little more in relation to others. Then the scores are announced, and Limo announced first with 34,652 years. I already think congratulations Limu on your first place. Limu so smiles and thanks. Yeshu is surprised to see Limu smiling and asks if he can smile. She comments that he doesn't look bad when he smiles, so Shashu asks why he lives. Frown, and quickly Limo changes his expression. Then it is announced that second place goes to Shashu with 7,600 points, and Su evaluation is out of the ordinary. The directors of the comments that Director Liu was quite lucky because he also came in second place. They point out that they were even jealous of. The other place teams were then announced, and Feng Shu was in third place with 6,700 points, and its evaluation is outside the. Commonly, fourth place went to Zomiai with 6,325 points, and with an outside the rating. Commonly in fifth place was Wang with 6,300 points, but his evaluation is bad. Ong V your grade doesn't believe, and wonders why you received a bad evaluation, and that with an evaluation like that the Shaojing University is out of sight. Limu title so all students look up from the tower waiting for the result and he wonders what it could be. Limu already received first place in the province, then it is announced and Limu became the number 1 in the country in this year's admission test. This leaves everyone in disbelief, even Director Liu, who wonders if I didn't hear wrong and that Limu became the first place in the country. Soon afterwards, Director Liu was so happy that he even saw Anjo around him. The other directors were surprised to see Director Liu acting strangely and asked if he is fine. Then they ask him to take care of his health. Then they say that now Director Liu will leave. Brag for the rest of your life. The girls, who always criticize Limu, are now very happy and say that the first place in the country came to Yanni's place. They say that Limu is amazing and that they also want their futures children study at the same school as them. Zom and Feng Shu approach Limu congratulating. Feng Shu says they passed. Oh, because of big problems, and that if it weren't for Limu, they wouldn't have made it. So Zumi asks Limu if he will go to Shaojing University, and Limu responds yes. Sean said they met there, and that he would buy lunch to Limu as a form of thanks. Sean mentions that Limu is not the communicative type, and that she was his colleague for 3 years, and adding up all the times he spoke Limu, he must have only said 10 sentences when he heard this Imo corrected, and he says there were 26 sentences. This leaves everyone impressed, and he started to fix me. Smile, leaving Chashu embarrassed. Some time later, Limo is in her room, looking at the photo of her family, and he says he will soon be at the same university as his sister, and he spoke to his grandmother's board and he became first place in the country. Then someone knocks on his door, and Abril Alamo sees that it is Director Liu, so he asks, what is he doing in his room at this time, and does he need anything? When he looks at the man next to him, Director Liu, Limo realizes that he has such a terrifying time that it is even difficult to breathe quickly. He summons his skeleton warrior, and God comes out of the shadows saying that Limu has a good reaction. This makes Limu quite scared, and quickly he greets God by inviting everyone to come, and God will then speak to Limu, who came to his room to talk a little about Shaojing University. So God will realize that Limu is a calm, focused boy with excellent instinct, and in fact Limu is a unique talent after everyone else sits around. At the table, Director Liu says goodbye by that Limu's sister went to Shaojing University last year, and that's why Limu lives alone. He mentions that despite family conditions, the two brothers managed to enter the Xiaojing, which is quite rare, and the appearance of a genius like Limu is even rarer. God analyzed the Lemu's warrior realizes that he only has 250 points in the 4 attributes, so he asks Lemu how he managed to accomplish the feat in the battle space with such low attributes. Lemu then realizes that other people can see the statistics of the skeletons. After the first moment of the talent, God will then ask Lemu what kind of talent did he awaken, and Director Lu questions Lemu if he really awakened a talent then. Lemu responds that it was an improvement talent and better all his abilities. God by comments that it was like he had imagined, and then he announces Liu that he came for 2 reasons: first place reward, Shaojing University, and the second reason is relational to the university. So he explains that there will be a test the day after tomorrow, and I would like Liu to participate. Lemu asks what kind of test is, and God will explain that it is an internal university test only for internal students, and that the more detailed information can only be provided to the participants. So Lemu is silent, thinking, and what seems that the test is not mandatory, and that he has a choice. He wonders what God means by students internal, because it is necessary to maintain secrecy, and it seems that the content of the test is not something normal. God most silently says that he cannot reveal the content of the test, but he needs to know that this opportunity is unique and that normally Lemu would not be able to participate in the test. Upon hearing this, Lemu quickly accepts and says he will participate. After Lemu one at beginner level and one at level intermediate, and God says that the third reward is a bonus for work and performance in the space of battle. Lemu then receives a one-time access permission to the Divine Tower of Chia, and he says that this permission is something extremely valuable, and especially for the first time, so he asks Lemu to prepare well before going there. Lemu then replies that everything is fine, and he thinks that access to the Divine Tower must be something really important, because he was quite direct about this. Then tell Lemu to pack his things, as he will now go to Chaojin University. A few minutes later they go to Pao, and when they are teleporting, the Director Lu wishes Lemu luck on his new journey. Lemu then appears in front of the gate of Shaojin University, and God will begin to explain to Lemu that this gate, in addition to being an entrance, is a weapon, and even someone of high level will pay a price and try to force their way in. After passing through the gates by level Lemu to a room, then he starts to explain to Lemu that someone will come to help him. So God asks Lemu get some rest, and that tomorrow someone will come and pick him up. Lemu responds that everything is fine, and after God leaves, the boy who is in the room wonders who Lemu is and why he is so indifferent towards God and then he asks why God brought him personally. Then he asks where Lemu would like to live, so he begins to explain to Lemu that they have a variety of dorm options for 4 people, 2 or 1 person, a normal manor, and a manor with a rail area, and that there is a big difference in price between the options. So he says who knows that Lemu was recently admitted and that it must have many points, but he recommends Lemu pop palos and that there are many places he will need to spend them, and the best choice would be to choose a dorm for 4 people or two people. Limu then chooses a single bedroom, and he thinks he really needs to save the points and that he will then choose an individual dormitory instead of a mansion. The boy is then surprised by the chooses Liu and asks if he is sure. Then he thinks that palpating the points is crazy and that Limu will be regretted when he realizes that the points are difficult to acquire. Then he takes the Limu to his dorm individual and asks for your identification card to be able to register it. After registering Limu, it checks your Sato and asks how Limu had gotten so many points, since he has hundreds of thousands of Limu points. Then responds that the reward for first place in the country, and the boy gets scared and says that Limu has 130,000 points, and now it makes sense that Limu chose the boy in the individual story. So do you think that since when did he had entered university, he had achieved a maximum of 10,000 points, which is not even close to the amount of points from Limu? Then he says goodbye to Limu and says that from now on this will be his new dorm, so I wish him a good rest, and if Limo needs something he can look for him. But before he talks to Limo, try to get a communication device because he will need it. Lu then sits down and looks out the window and saw some magic. Then he says that there is someone practicing their skills, but that was to be expected. Imagine at university studies are trying hard to get quite strong Limu, so think that moving up level will be faster in this type of environment. The next day, after Limu finishes his meditation, someone hits his door, and when he opens it he asks if he still remembers her, and Limu replies that yes. Then she takes Lemon by the arm and says she will take him to eat and then show him the whole university. Then they go to the cafeteria. Limo says he will pay for lunch, and after paying and asks why Limo paid with points, so he explains that you can pay with gold coins and asks Limo not wasting the points like that. Limu then says he doesn't have gold coins and that he only has the points, and then he says Limu, I should have said this before because she has a lot of gold coins. She tells Limu to save the points because it's a lot hard to get them. So she says it's fine, it was only 5 points. Looking at the Limu balance she gets quite scared and asks how Limo got so many points like that. Limo then stays silent and then tells him, remember to never use points in places tired of the goblin chief's ring, and because it is the item the chief say Limu tries selling it, he can get 1 million gold coins. So he asks if Limu is sure he wants to give this item. Liu says yes to her and is delighted with her attitude. She then says that she will keep it without feeling guilty because she thinks that El Moyo doesn't know its value. Neo so think about whether this item is worth so much. So now he understands why the Gu dynasty was crazy after him then, and it takes Lin Muyu to finish his registration at the academy. Then she says that the Limu admission procedures are now ready because everyone is completed. Limu so ask him why he can't see the information about his sister Lim Ren, because when searching for his information the screen goes blank, and explains that perhaps he is on a secret mission for the university, and that's why he can't see information about her. Or maybe she joined a very special institute and by creative seminar. Then she tells Lu that she probably joined a specific institute. She then asks him not to worry about it, as it must be nothing serious. Limu thanks I, and then she says that there's still a lot left to show Limu, and she asks him to follow her. She then takes Leo to a room, then she calls a girl and says that she brought a special person, #1 in the country. So the girl goes towards them and she says that her name is Jang and that she is a knight and is level 23. Li Moyue greets and says that he is a level 17. Necrom Ling was sitting and listening to Li Moyo speak at his level. He asks if this is like a joke and could brought someone only at level 17. Ling. She says it's not because she was told to go, that she had a bank card to bring anyone, and she could bring anyone, and then asks Ling to be more careful with what he says. Slim is the best student in the country, and he responds that compared to the Hidden Dragon Guild, the best in the country means nothing, and that they had already dealt with people like lemons before, and they were all useless trash. Ling gets up to approach Limu. He says he was left knowing that he was sponsored by God. So he informs Limu, so he doesn't go, thinking that this will give him the right to do whatever he wants. Ling explains Li Moyo and the team what strength is worth, and that they took him to the challenge with the condition of Limu to keep his mouth closed. No one then says that if Limu disobeys, he himself will eliminate Limu. So you think that not even the lady from the Chia family is as arrogant as Ling, so Limu asks if Ling beats right in the head. Ling furiously asks what he told me, and when he was about to attack him, and Jang stops him and asks how Ling Us attacked Limu. Jang then asks for him to stop. Ling says that he just doesn't go and eliminate Limu there at that moment, respecting Jang's request. After everything, if lie down for a while, Jang informs Lu that they will leave at 9 a.m. and that everyone will meet in that same location, and that she will also only be able to give more information about the mission on the day. Next, Limo simply thanks him and tells Limo that they have to get ready, so call him to buy some things while he is leaving the room with Limu. Jang tells Ling that knows that he likes to hold a grudge and asks him to contain himself during the challenge, and says that besides, whoever brought Limu to be part of the group was Deus by himself. No one responds that they know that, so he explains that he only I wanted to know how the newcomer who took his younger brother's place Algia Jing, so he says that Lai was the best student in the country, and even though it doesn't mean much to them, however, for someone to achieve this title, they must be someone extraordinary, and who must also have a profession recently discovered and exclusive. No one responds. If they have to take someone, it would be better to take someone useful, because new professions appear every year, but the vast majority of them are no good. He claims that the profession necromancer must be one of the worst in the university corridors, and tells Limu not to try to reason with Ling because he is a bit eccentric, and they better go faster as they need to buy healing and healing potions. And in addition to the communicators, when they arrive at the place of purchase and say that they would like to buy from the portions red and blue and a Limu communication device, then place the items on the table and asks to sell them, and puts a communicator For 1 minute Nemo, then think about the improvement of your talent. The radius of the effect increases to 50 m and the slowing effect to 50%. In addition, the curse time also increases to 10 minutes, and it believes that he was lucky to receive yet another divine ability, and that now his abilities can be divided into 3 types: invocation, attack, and curse buoy. So he says he hopes to learn more other new skills in the future. The next day, he calls Liu, informing that it's time to wake up and that the sun has already risen, and she is waiting to go together. A few minutes later, and enters the room, but Limu Jiang asks that they do not move hastily when they are teleported, and Ling so send Limo not to disturb them, and then he tells Ling that he shouldn't disturb her. Limu, the discussion has already taken place, asks everyone to leave the disagreement to be resolved after the challenge, because it's very important. Jiang so say it is. Everyone better introduce themselves to improve the atmosphere. Then tell me that you will be the first to introduce yourself. So he is a level 20 fangirl, and don't introduces himself as a level 20 prophet call, as a level 21 wizard, Jiang as the level 23 knight, and Limu as level 17 necromancer and level 19 shadow assassin. Jay highlights that now everyone knows each other and that they must work together on this challenge, and asks them not to judge her if she is rude because the challenge is very important, and then saying that they will not negatively influence the test. Then Jing activated the portal and announces the Shaojing University that the Hidden Dragon Guild is giving start teleporting to the challenge location after being teleported, and Limu is scared and comments that they are in the Divine Tower of Chia and that she is in the slimy air, and wonders if it was the power of the tower that teleported them. Then they are sent to the Mermaid Island. Jiang then says that it is the mission stone and instructs everyone to touch it to find out the details of the challenge. After Limo touches her, he receives a mission informing him that he will have to go to the mermaid's tier dance and eliminate the boss final and obtain the mermaid's tear. That for this mission the maximum number of there are 6 people on the team, and the recommended level is level 20, and the tear drop only drops on difficulty nightmarish and will only be dropped 3 times, and Mayu then thinks that this means that only the first 3 teams that complete the dance will get the tears afterwards, informing that the Danjo de Tir de Syria will be located in the center of the island, and Limu thinks it basically just needs complete the Danjo. Then he wonders if the mermaid's tear is a special item after all, knowing what the mission. Jiang says that he didn't think the mission would be on Mermaid Island, and then says that Jiang had already done several challenges, and because of this, she has a lot of experience, and she is sure that everyone will get along well. Jiang then begins to explain that the tear of the series can be used to create special and extremely useful equipment. However, the island of Syria is not located in the Empire of Xenia, and only 3 tiers can be dropped per year. Furthermore, people from other countries come to the island every year to carry out this mission, and Gremio do Drageo Hidden has 10 teams, and that they are number 2. Jiang says that they will not only have to compete with the students from his own university, but also with professionals from other countries. Jay then begins to explain that if there is a conflict, everyone must do everything they can to stay alive, because each person's life is more important than the mission. Luso says not to worry, and that they will not go through the same situation as they already had faced before. Jay then says it's time for them to go, and asks Doan to activate the buffs so everyone receives strengthening strength, speed, defense, and increasing His stats after the buff, he thinks he had a 30% increase in his attributes, and that the power of his skill increased by 20%, and these effects last for an hour. So Limo thinks that the provision of profit is really powerful, but in comparison to his talent, the effect of profit enhancement is very weak, and Mu then summons his warrior skillet, wonders what the effect will be on them. Then after L summons the skeleton warrior, gets scared, but starts laughing, telling them there's no scared because the skeleton is friendly. Limu so asks Duan to activate the buff on his skeleton. They fight another time, so she says they have to finish the challenge. No one so thinks that. It's strange because they feel a sense of danger when the slime summon looks in their direction and even appears that her body doesn't want to respond to this. Jay, seeing that the light comes out of the mountain, she says it's time to start the challenge and tells everyone to run towards her while they run. Jang, so that BGT sees Dana from the mermaid's tear, and that everyone needs to run fast and avoid fighting the monsters. Then soon after, the monster takes front of them. Then they realize it's a level 19 merman. Then everyone starts attacking him to eliminate him quickly, and after succeeding, they receive 1500 experience. But then more monsters appear, and Jang comments that now they are level 21, and at this rate, they will take about 3 hours to reach the center of the island. That way, they are going too slowly because they are wasting a lot of time. Jin-tun asks me to fend off the monsters so that everyone can pass by them without having to fight. Then he activated his ability when trapping and asks everyone to go fast while she keeps the monsters under control 20 minutes. Then they see a group in front of her, and Jay says they are falling behind and need to go faster. Then she says that there are many monsters in front of her and that they won't be able to keep them away, but she says that besides that the monsters are now at level 22, as they are above their level. Due to this, their ability can fail. Jay says that going straight past them can be very dangerous, as they can be surrounded, but if they clear the path as they advance, it will be another Orgacha, getting further behind. Yet Limu takes the lead and says that you can let him solve this, and if Jang understands, look at Limu call. Then R and asks what the level 17 noob could do, and then he says that slime doesn't move a finger so far, so he asks what use Limu will be, and I heard that he tells Ling to shut up mouth, and Ling keeps saying that Limu should keep hiding behind the girls, but Limu ignores what Ling is talking, and Jang asks what Rima's plan will be, and he says he will use the skeleton warriors to attract them. So animated Jenga says that this is true, and that the invocation of Limu can be quite useful. Limu order with the skeleton go. Jang comments that the skeleton warrior is very fast, and has very fast movements because he is following them. Left Limu warrior. Jay orders everyone to run, because the way is clear. After they manage to get through and move away, the weird Limu warrior returns to his summoning space. Jay then thanks Leo, saying they owe him, but Lee criticizes Leo again, questioning why they didn't do it. This from the beginning, arguing that they would already be at the top of the mountain by now, and tells him to stop complaining and challenge him in front since he is so powerful. Ling in turn states that Limbo's invocations do everything, calling garbage Limbo. Then he looks at Ling and tells him that this is his last chance. I'm scared and asks everyone to run away. Seeing that they are being attacked by Surprise and Jing, also worried, orders everyone to retreat, so the man appears and comments that he is a unique class in the country and the summoner Chick Gam. He begins to attract several monsters towards others. Explains that Chick Gam summoners are capable of invoke ancient gods, leaving one wondering why they are doing this. Jay then suggests they don't want to let no one else come near the mountain. The summoner of Chick Gam rides the monster and Odin that everyone remains at the location and use the mission rock to teleport when you can no longer handle the monsters as the danger of this time's tier will be from the great country. Then he leaves, and the other participants in the mission consider it despicable, comment that the fancy summoner Gamma is a profession legendary, and now hundreds of merfolk are present, and that it will take them hours to eliminate them. Yang looks at Liu and asks if he can resolve the situation. Limu then summons a skeleton warrior, and the others ask where are summoners to deal with the monsters, and someone responds saying that the summoners couldn't do it. Nothing with this amount of monsters. After summoning, the Limu takes the monsters away. The others comment must have found a way to deal with the merfolk, and they need to stop them. Then they are all attacked by the country's archers, and so it's worth nothing to the mages to create a protective shield. Limu comments that this is just the beginning of the battle, and states that it's not. Is afraid because Slime and his skeletons are by his side after the first round of battle. Other students argue that it won't work that way because they are attacking in a disorganized way and need to regroup. They also say, who needs a powerful magician, and there are few people at the base of the Lig Mountain. Then he approaches Jang and expresses his desire to leave the team unless Limu is expelled. Duan Mayan defends Limu, claiming that he was fundamental to getting there and calls Lig boring, and Ling believes that Jang will have to keep him on the team because the other teams are looking for mages, and his team can't afford to lose him. Jaitan thinks about the situation at hand. Then she says that in this case Ling should leave the team after Jang decided that Ling should lead the team. He is scared, not believing that Jang chose Limu instead of him. Curious. So he asks Jang if she's sure she wants him to leave the team. So Lig tells Jang that without him on the team, they certainly won't be able to complete the challenge, and then he asks if Jang doesn't want to join them. Creation seminar. Jang responds no, and she tells Ling that he knows that as she is an elf knight, his children don't allow her to accept his demand. Ling, so she leaves and tells Jang not to regret his decision. Limu calls Jang to enter Danger, and Jang says that Pa won't let them enter, and also smiling at calls to join Dejo, and Jang asks how they are going to do that. Meow and Duan look at each other and without understand. Then they say they will just go with the flow, and Muyu goes towards the country members, and then Jang says that it is still possible for them to escape. However, she believes that there is no great danger while they are with her, as she can defend them. Then Jing wonders why I Tant and Liu, the country members, Seeing the lemon team approaching, they order them to leave, and that they will not let them approach the angel. Others, when they see that Limu is being threatened by the country, and call on everyone to help Limu, they say they will not go. Leave the country, and heard at Lingdacane several people going to help El Mayu says everyone wants to be eliminated by Pisces. Then the wizards of Pisces summon several monsters, and start attacking them. Jang takes the lead to defend Limayu. And then he summons his skeleton warriors, allowing him to eliminate the country's monsters, and with facility, leaving everyone scared by the strength of Nimu's skeleton warriors. Jay wonders how Limu can invoking so many people, says that in addition to attacking, they are also blocking the country's attacks, and it becomes in disbelief. He wonders what kind of profession this is, and how it is so strong, questioning how someone can invoke so many creatures like that, and note that in addition to the quantity, they are very powerful, so they say that their attacks, they don't seem to do anything against those creatures. They say that this way the limit team will be able to enter the danger, so they plan to find another way for Dito's lead to get closer to Daniel. Chooses the nightmare level and enter it before the members of the country, and can do something today, leaving completely furious inside the jail. Jang is apprehensive, thinking that they couldn't complete it, however, and asks Jang to relax because the Limu skeletons are quite powerful. Jang, so he agrees, but she thinks that she hopes that they have enough power to be able to eliminate the monsters. So she says that she will do what possible to block the monsters, and one states that she will use the cure at the appropriate time, and he asks her hand to stay responsible for group control. Then he assures everyone that he won't let any monsters get close, and Duan promises to bless Jang, but soon after they are scared when they receive 10,000 experience, and Mio and Duan Se asks what is happening because they receive this experience, then realizes that he is eliminating the Newts elite warriors with their skeleton warriors, so Lemma asks them to keep looking for the Jang egg. Look to Limino in disbelief. His skeleton warriors were able to eliminate the primordial elite monster. To attract the attention of the monsters, I make a comment that seems like they're not even necessary in this. Daniel, I'm sorry. He tells me that it gets boring because there's nothing for them to do but ahead. They come across a cliff, and they comment that it seems to be a dead end, and that Dangel seems to have few monsters, and scared asks them to look down, because she had found the monster than everyone. See the Serpent Queen Merman of level 23 with attributes of up to 5,000 Nemu points, then think that these attributes are even higher than that of the Goblin King, and that the attributes of his skeleton warriors are currently 200700. Jane quickly gets ready to attract the boss, but Limu said no need to leave Jay without understanding. Then the warriors who gave me so much attacks the boss, but the boss activates his whip ability, eliminates Andos, and then he starts climbing the wall and asks what they're going to do. He polishes his foot so she doesn't worry, followed by her ability to curse slowness, causing the boss to become completely slow, and thus his skeleton warriors. I managed to get on the boss and attack him. Jay surprise asks if it's a slow type curse. confirms. Jade looks at Limu and thinks he has powerful summons and even curse ability, so she asks what else an NEM can do. The boss then activates Death's choke ability, eliminating some skeletons, and then he throws poison at them. However, Slime explains that his skeleton warriors are undead, so the poison will have no effect on them, and then the boss is eliminated, leaving Jeg to believe how it was so quick. Then the message appears informing that the Queen Serpent of level 23 Merfolk was eliminated, and each received 50,000 experience in addition to the items dropped. Drop a silver grid armor, snakeskin armor, and also FBDO, the intermediate level monster core, and then approaches Mayan and Duan and says that they can now wake up and move, and Duan comments that he doesn't understand how they receive so much experience without having done anything. Yang asks for everything to move quickly, as they need to continue following the Limu and face the Joe final boss, who it's probably the queen herself, after they continue through the cave, and comments that the smell of fish is very strong. Then further ahead, they found the exit, and on the other side, they saw a large palace surrounded by mermen who protect, and then starts counting and saying that there are around 60 patrollers, and that if you add all the merfolk together it gives a total of 180, in comments that they are all improved elite monos, and that they are now will have more difficulty. Limu then activates his soul call and mentions that the more enemies the better, as they can gain more experience. Mew then orders his skeleton warriors to attack, and then Prudent to attack. In this way, we can attract many shows at once when analyzing the statuses of the elite merfolk soldiers. They have around 2,200 points. Then they activate their stunning strike ability, and Limu Quill warriors activate their attack of rage and gets scared when he sees the patrollers advancing, but Limu looks to Tu and asks her to close her ears. Then she activates her corpse explosion ability, resulting in a huge explosion. In disbelief, Jang asks what happened, and several messages appear informing that the elite warrior merfolk were eliminated, granting 12,000 experience points, and everyone is surprised and asks what kind of skill this is and how it can be so powerful. Then Jang comments that he has never received so many experience notifications like these after eliminating all the monsters. The palace gates start to open, revealing the Queen of Mermen with 6,000 point attacks, and is impressed by the beauty of the Queen of Newts, and Slime says it's a spell because she's using her ability Clarity of Mind. Quickly he holds it and by the arm and asks everyone to move towards Queen Jing. Then she wonders why El Mayu was not affected, so she wonders what is happening to her. Mind explains that the Queen of Merfolk has an enchantment that affected everyone except Mayu. She says it's lucky to have him here to stop them from getting close, otherwise the whole team would have been eliminated shortly afterwards. The Queen of the Merfolk activated her ability to shout terrified and launch an attack. Queen is as if you were watching a pack of wolves attacking a lion, it would be impossible to predict whether you would be victorious. Deliver a powerful attack against the skeleton warrior, easily eliminating him. Then Limu receives a Notification stating that the skeleton warrior was destroyed. Jing quickly asks Duan to snort everyone and that you must be prepared to enter combat. When necessary, Duan so agree. Jing says they will attack once Limu's skeleton warriors are defeated. However, Limu states that it is not necessary to do this and activates her ability and slow curse to reduce the Queen of the Merman's speed, but she manages to activating her Rising Wave ability by eliminating 12 skeleton warrior at once. Jay comments that it looks like the skeleton warriors won't resist for long, so she needs to act. She asks Slime to retreat her. Lemon Skeletons orders everyone to advance, and then he says it's fun time, so he summons 87 skeletons at once, leaving everyone in disbelief. Jang asks if this is a dream, and if it is possible for someone to summon many of the monsters like this. Is also scared and comments that it seems that Limu could always do this but didn't want to. Before Luan says that this is terrifying and that it's no surprise why she believes so much in Limu, and then it's impressed because she expected that Limu had become very strong, but this exceeded her expectations. The Queen of Merfolk attack again using the Queen's tier ability and comment that they are unable to counterattack the boss's ability since the bow's level is higher than hers, and Moyu reassures Han saying that her spirit is strong enough to not be affected by the boss's ability, and that skeleton warriors are undead and that they do not even feel pain or emotions. Immediately afterwards, the Queen suffers countless attacks from the warriors, either in a Limu, causing her to be eliminated. After the elimination of the Queen of the Merfolk, Notice states that they received 80,000 of experience and who acquired a silver grade weapon, the sword of the Queen of Merman and the staff of the Queen of Merfolk. Both increases strength and constitution by an additional 50 and increases fighting skill power by 10%, but they can only be used by those who are above level 20. Additionally, they also received a mermaid tear, and then she takes the mermaid's tear and is in disbelief. She comments that they managed to complete the mission and that now they are a step of the creation seminar, and Jang agrees, saying that he just needs to complete a few more missions and improve his skills to enter the creation seminar. Duan is very happy and praises LeMayu, stating that without him, they wouldn't have. Having managed to pass the challenge, Mayan then criticizes Ling for abandoning them, but they still manage to complete the task. Challenge thanks to Limu. Limu asks if she has a cooling talisman that allows her to reset Dangel again for 2 people then, and confirms yes, and asks what Limu is playing next. Limu activates Dangel again, leaves Jang Duan Mian perplexed, and wonders if Lim are joining the DJ alone again, and Jang praises her, stating that she is not the average girl, and wonders how she managed to put her hands on a high-level item, other than wonders if he saw correctly, and that just entered the Naj again in the nightmare difficulty, making them question whether they want to put themselves in danger. Said that they just need to wait and hope they come back well, smile, and say that you can still complete the difficulty nightmare, and that they were fine. So Ma asks Jang not to worry inside the dance, and comments that she imagined that Limu would help her level up so quickly, and she asks Limu not to change her mind in the middle of the game. Limu Path then smiles and assures her that she won't change her mind as they move forward. Then the merman watches them as they walk and explains that he can only complete the gel 2 more times using the rest of the talisman of cooling down. She emphasizes the importance of taking advantage of this opportunity to get Sarah's tears as quickly as possible. possible, and Limu promises that they will pass even faster this time. Limu's monsters eliminates all the newts quickly, and he arrives at the palace easily and comments that the queen should appear soon since all the patrollers have already been eliminated. When the queen of the merfolk appears and runs behind Limu in fear of being skill related to assassins by 10% and which can only be used after level 20. The grimoire increases the spirit by another 100 and the skill power related to mages by 10% and can also only be used after level 20 in addition. From this, they receive another tier of the series after receiving the experience and leveling up, becoming very happy, Elmu suggests. They go again once more and Mo realizes that he has leveled up. He notices that the last time he met her, she was at level 19, and he was at level 10, so he realizes that he wasn't. Seems to care a lot about forming levels after Lee comes out. The others are surprised to see that Limu came out so quickly, questioning how long they spent inside, since it hadn't even been 10 minutes. He asks if Moi couldn't kill any monsters, or if they are too rich to spend a resin talisman. In this way, immediately after Limu and activates the talisman again, leaving the others. His group members are confused and Jeg wonders if Limu really managed to finish DJ in less than 10 minutes of. Then comments that Limu seems to be more capable than they imagined because they enter the dungeon and activate a timer challenge. Limu completes the dungeon even faster. Limu then looks at me and thinks she is treating this now as if it were a game. Then he says he still accepts the challenge, so Limu succeeds. Eliminate the boss in record time, completing the DJ in 8 minutes and 58 seconds, and then celebrate and say how bad. Can wait to see the reaction of others when they find out, when they leave Joe members in the country and express disapproval for Limi, and for them using the talisman in this way. They believe it was a waste because they entered the jaw and left without even facing the monster. And asks how it was, and if she managed to catch all the mermaid's tears, and replies that it was easy and it was without problem. Soon after, the dungeon begins to close, surprising all members of the country, and it should disappear. When the 3 tiers of Syria were acquired, then they realized that Limu and 2 had entered from leaving Dadano 3 times, and Muyu then suggests that it's time for them to leave, but then they are attacked by members of the country and believes that he was crushed and the others are in tears, and that they tried to take the members of the group away from them. Shaojing University also notes that Jang quickly left DJO, so they says that she really has the mermaid's tear, so they say that she will not allow the country to obliterate the mermaid's tears. Would be Jang, the summoner of Chick Gam, summons his most powerful monsters, surrounding the Jang and leaving him scared, but Limu activated his ability, calling the soul striking, and the summoner of CHCK Gam said he won't let them escape, so he activates a card causing his beast to gain a buff, making it even more powerful. Then the summoner of Chick Gamma orders his Monchos to eliminate Limu. Then Limu also orders his Gyros who lit to attack Chick Gami's summoner, says that the Limu monsters won't even make a scratch on the Macau of his monsters. Giant Li Mayu activates the Skeleton Warrior's Fury attack ability, and after delivering the attack on the cheat owner monster, Gami is in disbelief because the monster was very weak and couldn't even withstand one attack. Others who watch a fight impressed and says that Limu eliminated the Shig summoner's monster Gami without even making any effort, After the Chick Gam Summoner's monster is eliminated, he receives a rebound from the damage. He suffers when he sees that Chick Gam Summoner is injured and orders his skeleton warriors to go and eliminate him. It's over, guys. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll quickly post the next chapter. Don't forget to like it. Thanks. See you next time.